a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? It is a beautiful day. Just look at everything. Oh, gorgeous. Today I will be talking about the Hunger Games. Now, believe it or not, I did not actually used to like the idea of the Hunger Games. Before we saw the movie, I kind of had a bit of a tantrum. I mean, it's like a fad. It's just stupid. I mean, it just seems really dumb, and it just I don't want to get on the bandwagon if I don't have to, you know.
It's not that bad. It's really good. You'll enjoy it.
I know, and I'm convincible, but still, it's just really annoying.
Oh, honey.
I just don't like it. But yes, the movie is wonderful. It's well acted, it's well cast, it's well designed, and it's very well written. The script is great. You get so attached to the characters, and apparently the stuff that they change for good from the book, so we'll have to get more of an authority on that. Stop making noise, I'm trying to vlog here. Some people who know anime or Japanese media have compared it to Battle Royale, which is a live-action movie that's done in Japanese with Japanese actors. It's a different animal altogether. I find it kind of hard to compare them, in my opinion. Now, I'm not sure how much I need to say about the Hunger Games, because I feel like pretty much everyone knows the story. It's about a girl named Katniss Everdeen, and it starts off with her living in her district, which is one of 12. And long ago, the capital basically punished all of the districts for rebelling against them. And for that, they have to take part in a game called the Hunger Games. And they've made it a big affair, and it's televised and broadcast all over the place. And basically two children between 12 and 18, I think, have to be picked every year for the Hunger Games. And it's broadcast on TV, and they basically all have to kill each other. It sounds very, very dark, and it kind of is. So basically, Katniss is chosen. Well, actually, she's not chosen. Her younger sister is chosen, this is her first year ever being in the lottery, and she's picked, and Katniss takes her place by volunteering. And there's another boy that comes in named Peeta. Oh, Peeta. And what kind of a name is Peeta? It's like it's a flatbread, for crying out loud.
Right, honey, it's a stupid name.
So anyway, both of them have to go to the Capitol, and it's the most interesting thing because it's not just all the kids fighting each other. They have to get sponsors, and they have to get dressed up by designers in sort of the media campaign before the whole thing begins. It's a little bit like Miss America or like American Idol, where there are a bunch of people, but instead of getting voted off, you have to kill everybody to be the last one standing, basically. So the whole movie follows Katniss and Peeta as they go through this whole awful thing, but they learn a lot about themselves, and they also end up fighting against the system without really trying to. They're basically just trying to survive, but they end up taking a couple actions that everyone sees because it's broadcast that really change the viewpoint of a lot of people, and they just start thinking about how the Capitol really has been screwing them over, and a revolution starts to boil and bubble to the top. And this is only the first movie. I'm hoping they're going to do more. But it's just based off the first book. There are 2 more books, and apparently it gets a lot more exciting. And it gets a lot more involved, of course, as series do, and you learn a lot more about the world and about the characters and about what happens. So I'm going to be turning it over to my wonderful husband who has read all the books. I still have to catch up. So anyway, here you go, honey.
Thanks, honey. Okay, so Hunger Games. I think I discovered this book probably a little over a year ago. It was while we were actually dating that I was reading through it, picked it up off my mother like I do most books. And it must have been, as I was reading it, not long after, I was thinking, this would make a really great movie, and I looked up and said, fancy that. So, as page-to-screen adaptations go, I thought this one was really good. As far as fidelity to the book goes, all of the changes I found make a lot of sense, and I really thought they did a fantastic job transitioning from what is a first-person story that is very internalized to something that really takes advantage of visual elements and oral elements. I loved what they did with the Mockingjays, for example, the way that they did the bird calls, and just a very subtle but distinct call that you could trace the tune through. I think one of the coolest moments in the early stages when the first previews were coming out was when we heard Rue's song at the very end of the preview. It was just, wow, that's so cool. I think of The Hunger Games as sort of an anti-Twilight. Having both read that and I guess seen the riff tracks of that, Twilight I found an enjoyable piece of fluff kind of book. I didn't hate it. I thought it was fun. I didn't think much of it. Hunger Games, it's the same kind of demographic, young teens with a focus on girls since you have a strong female lead character, but with a very different direction. And one that ultimately tells a more meaningful story. It's not that The Hunger Games is doing something, very new, and many people have pointed this out, that it's a fairly straightforward story with themes that have been around for a long time, but it pulls it off so well, and it's so good to see a story directed at a youth audience that treats its audience with respect. I think that's my favorite thing about this series, is that it's smart, it's intelligent, and it treats its young readers as such. So that's The Hunger Games to me. I think it's great, and definitely give it a look if you haven't already.
So, final verdict? Well, it made me a huge fan, and I thought I was gonna hate it. So, go see it. I don't think you'll regret it.
The Hunger Games. Nature!